So, about a month into this self imposed unemployment, because I was being stupid and quit before I had another job, I was getting rather desperate and the stress was building up along with my debt. And I got a call from the Union Rescue Mission for an interview there. I jumped at the chance and I went into the interview. And I was interviewed by their IT director, Mike Hiss. Awesome, awesome guy. Let me show you where this place is. This is where I worked as a 25-year-old kid. That is the Union Rescue Mission right there. I worked at that for nearly a year every day. I drove 50 miles one way, an hour and a half on the I-10 freeway. If it was a 3-day weekend, good luck. It would take me 3 hours to get home. Um, I learned to drive, eat, listen to the radio, read a book, and do all kinds of things on the hour and a half to 3 hours that I had to drive home every night. It's just freaking insane. Um, as you can see, the homeless problem is still a problem. It will probably always be a problem. But anyway, um, I yeah, Mike Hiss, the IT director, evidently took pity on me because I was in a pretty pitiful situation at the time, and offered me the job. The the release of stress that came with that job offer caused me to become physically sick. I ended up getting walking pneumonia, and the problem was I had no health insurance. I had no money. Needed this job, so I ended up getting up, going to work sick as a dog, going home and collapsing for a month before I started getting better. I hope nobody ever gets in that situation. It is a horrible situation. But that was what I was in as a 25-year-old idiot as a kid. And um, it got a little bit better from there. Not barely making poverty wages in Southern California, but I was just barely keeping ahead of my bills. Barely. Um, Water was always turned off more than once because I couldn't pay it. But we I figured it out somehow. Um, anyway, about 6 7 months into the position here at the Union Rescue Mission, we were having a problem with our bandwidth connection, our internet connection. It was getting bogged down, and we tracked the problem to our computer lab for the various homeless programs that we had going on, and a certain gentleman by the name of George Potvin. He um, he was downloading Linux, an operating system, so he can learn it and help improve himself. And this is where Mike Hiss was freaking coolest. Evidently, I did some Googling on him, and he was a NASCAR driver, evidently like 1971, 72 rookie of the year. He drove in the Indianapolis 500. he, uh, he, he, he posed for Playgirl, which was a little bit shocking to me. I mean, I met him when he was like in his 60s, I think. So I wasn't expecting that from him. But since he was a NASCAR driver, it makes sense that he was absolutely completely deaf. But he was the absolute coolest boss you could ever have. And he told George, "Hey, instead of berating you for causing us problems, how about you come work for us? We'll create an internship, we'll teach you, and we'll help you," which was freaking awesome for my boss to do. So George ended up coming into our department. He worked with me. He ended up kind of being a brother, big brother, father figure to me. Not to disparage my own father and brother, but he was there. He knew more about the world than I did. He knew about the homeless situation because he lived it and was trying to get out of it. So I had asked him one day, well, why are we having so many homeless people? How can we help them? It's like, and he told me kind of his viewpoint on it, and it stuck with me today because it made sense. He said that we have second and third and fourth generation homeless on our streets. The person is homeless. Their parents were homeless. Their grandparents were homeless. All they know is life on the streets. They have no idea what it's like to live in a home and all that entails. All they know is the street. You can't just simply throw money at them or snap the finger, provide them, here's your house, and the problem is solved. It's not that easy. Think of it like this: if you got kicked out of your own home, would you know how to survive on the street? Would you know where to go get food, where to sleep safely, where to protect yourself from the elements, where to get the health care you need? All of that, the homeless people know how to do because that's their life. But me coming from a homed and housed environment, never having done that, I wouldn't know it. I'd be clueless. So it's a change, and people are afraid of change. Just like I would be afraid of being homeless, homeless can be afraid of being housed. It's a lifestyle change, and because it's a lifestyle change, it has to be the individual's decision. This is what he told me. It has to be the individual's decision. You can't make that decision for you. You can't solve the problem for them. All you can do, either as a homeless shelter like the Union Rescue Mission, or a government, or even an individual, is to be there to assist them at each stage of the process. Assist and support. And as long as that individual is dedicated to the path, then it'll work out okay. But unless you have those programs available, it's not going to change. But he gave me a lot of insight into the homeless problem, the homeless mentality, why they're homeless, how they think about it, and I appreciate it. I'm not saying was ever homeless, but it gave me a lot of insight, and I appreciate that for him. I looked up to him. Unfortunately, George is no longer with us today. Um, After his internship, my boss offered him an actual paying position with us, and he accepted that. And he was able to transition out of the homeless program there into an actual apartment. He was one of our success stories, and he would come to work. And after about the Fourth of July holiday, around the Fourth of July holiday, he missed a day. Then he missed another day, and a third day. And this is very much unlike him. So we tried using our HR resources to help track him down, and we found him at a local hospital. He had had a heart attack and had to go in for emergency bypass surgery. We visited him. I was thankful that he had gotten the help he needed and he was getting discharged. He was coming back to work. But a couple of weeks later, he missed a day. On the second day, I was really worried. I called him. I couldn't get a hold of him. So I told my boss, hey, I'm going to go over to where he lives and check up on him. I'm like, sure, go ahead and go. So I went, and I got knocked on the apartment manager's door and said, hey, I'm here to check up on George Potvin. He had been in the hospital. I'm not able to get a hold of him. So we went up to his apartment, and the manager let us both into the room, and we found George deceased. It looked like he had tried to reach the phone and was trying to dial 911, but had not been able to be successful by the time he had died. And that hit me hard. He was my best friend, and losing him was devastating. I think that's why a month later, when I got a job offer for a position in Iraq, I wanted to take it, not just for the money or the for any other reason. I wanted to take it because I felt like I needed to move on. And coming to work every day and seeing George's empty desk there, um, that was hard. So I think I was ready to move on, and this job opportunity came at a very good time for me to want to have a change in my life. So about a month later, I was on my way to Iraq.